Dr. Tina, it's nice to be talking to you again.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
In 30 seconds or less, what's happening at this event?
At this event, people are coming together to learn about some perspectives that people have on the future and the priorities for Nosara.
How are you going to get people to participate in this? Like, how does it work?
So we wanted to do an event where everyone in the community could come together. And we've talked to individuals all across the community. But at this event, because we're in the middle of a pandemic, we couldn't invite everyone. Do we wish we could have? Yes. Could we do it? No. And so we tried to make sure that the people who were coming were representative of the community, that they represented every kind of group and organization and demographic that lives here in Nosara.
Yourself included in this group I'm referencing right now, the group of moderators, or I'm not sure exactly what the term is for what you guys are doing, but the people with all the fancy degrees and from universities all around the world who do this for a living. Why should we listen to what any of you say about Nosara?
You shouldn't. You should listen to each other.
How do you do that?
You try to create a space where people can disagree without being disagreeable, where people can talk about not just what they want, but why it matters to them, about the interests, the values, the needs that are pushing them to make calls for education or health or sustainable development. You listen to not what people are asking for, but why they're asking for it.
I gotcha. So I would say, at least in our area, everyone likes the environment, everyone likes nature, everyone likes what makes this place special. That's why we're all here. But at the same time, and the manner of dealing with it, it's incredibly opinionated between individuals, community organizations. It's polarizing, and it's kind of disheartening. Now, you guys walk into town to say you want to promote communication and unification, but it just seems this is a tough place to make that happen. How are you going to deal with it?
Yeah. Well, all communities are tough places to make that happen. Conflict is hard, right? Conflict is hard, but conflict doesn't have to be destructive. It doesn't have to lead to community fights and different tribes and factions all pushing to each other. We can think about conflict in different ways and make conflict constructive and productive so that we move forward together as a community. I don't think conflict is bad. I like it when people disagree because that helps us understand people's motivations. It helps us understand their needs. And ultimately, it can help us craft more durable, more meaningful solutions for communities as a whole.
That makes sense. On my suggestions for people who were going to be invited to the meeting, I wanted people who disagreed to sit together because right here in the studio, I've had most of them in.
Yeah.
And I've sat and listened. Well, way more than I wanted to, but I've listened to every side of everything. And what I hear is everybody wants basically the same thing, but they want to handle it in incredibly different ways. And as soon as they segmented, all hell broke loose.
Sure.
And now it's really, it's getting deeper and deeper. And that's caused me a lot of concern. And that's why I'm trying to help sponsor and make all this stuff happen. I think our town is at a interesting spot, but
yeah. Well, can I
really
ask you a question?
Yeah, sure.
You've talked to all of the people here. When you've said that you've listened to all of these different sides, do you get the sense that there is some agreement, some commonality on things that everybody wants? And then the challenge is, how do we get there?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you think those people are aware of the common ground?
I think they've gotten so mad at each other that they've forgotten the common ground and they just want to be right. And they just want the other person to be wrong.
Yeah.
And I say person, group, idea, whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
So my answer is yes. I do think people are very united. I actually know it for a fact they are. But egos have gotten in the way.
Yeah.
And a couple of our community organizations communicate in a manner which is off-putting to some other people. So it creates chasms. That being said, the community organization is fantastic. The people may or may not be fantastic. The reality is we're fighting unnecessarily and it's making communication very difficult.
I genuinely believe that most people don't want to be jerks, right? And that most people were put in situations where we're not taught, we're not socialized on how to handle these issues or have conversations. This isn't an opportunity for someone to be right or wrong, right? Who cares about right or wrong? This is an opportunity to make Nosara what you want it to be. This is an opportunity for people to deal with all of those competing pressures that frankly could fuck this community up for a really long time in a way that does irreparable damage. This is an opportunity not for us to come in and say what to do, but for people to figure out who they want to be for the future and work together to get there. It's not about right or wrong. It's about fixing some of the challenges and addressing them meaningfully and purposefully and constructively.
Wow.
If people are coming to stroke their egos, that doesn't do the world good.
I think people were loading up to go defend their position.
You know what? People's positions are more aligned than I think they think. And so if we can figure out what it is where we all agree, then we can start having conversations about how we achieve that end, right? But let's figure out where we want to go, and then we can understand the steps we want to take there. I'm a little bit idealistic, but I'm not naive, right? I think we have to have a shared vision of what it is we want and know that, people are going to have different ideas about how we follow that path. But it's better to I'm from a place where there are no oceans, right? So forgive my analogy, but you don't want to be a boat on the water without a motor, right? You'd rather have the motor so you can steer the ship. You can't just float along.
Thanks for what you're doing. We'll see you at the event.
Awesome. I look forward to it. Thanks, Rich.